In Phase 7 of Season of Discovery, many of us have faced our fears in Karazhan Crypts, battled the Scourge to prevent an all-out invasion, and journeyed deep into the Ziggurat and Naxxramas. Phase 7 has provided opportunities to complete unfinished business like slaying Kel'Thuzad and acquiring the loot we always dreamed of. But new content means new ways to break and exploit the game in ways like never before. That's where my ultimate Phase 7 exploits guide comes in, with all the latest and greatest exploits to give you a huge edge. Whether your journey is focused on Naxxramas or making thousands of gold or dominating in PvP. Before I reveal the latest, the greatest exploits though, what is your favorite Season of Discovery exploit of all time? Mine has to be when the Molten Core Ball spell malfunctioned and people were able to take it outside of the raid and wreak havoc in Orgrimmar. So starting off with some general exploits, we've got to talk about one of the biggest, the craziest exploits of the last few years. That exploit is the Server Transfer Quest exploit. Right now, if you transfer on any server, Classic, Season of Discovery, your quest data is completely reset, which means you can do all the quests in a second time. It is such a game-breaking bug that it's hard to immediately figure out if this is actually a good bug or a bad bug in terms of taking advantage of it. I mean, if you think about it, having to do a second NOHITJEROME, it sounds like a nightmare. But there are ways to take advantage right now. For example, you could quest all the way to 60 and make a bunch of free gold. You hit 60 and then you can redo all the quests again if you want to for even more gold. Or your entire guild could stock up on one-time broken items like the Bag of Marbles or the Light of a Loon, and then you could transfer and double up for crazy raid and PvP domination. But the single biggest use case I could come up with was to create and level a character on a server like Shadowstrike. Then you could do the Sleeping Bag questline, because that gives you all those student fodders, and those give you a bunch of free rested experience. Then you could transfer and do the quest a second time, and you're saving a ton of leveling time. If you've got any specific ideas on a way to take advantage of this exploit, let me know, because apparently this bug's been in the game for 6 months, and Blizzard isn't sure how to fix it. We've also got to talk about PvE exploits, the raid exploits, dungeon exploits, and one of the best right now is the 2-torch exploit in Karazhan. If you've been frustrated as a healer by those stupid silence mobs, this is going to be your best exploit ever. The TLDR, only one player can hold the torch in Karazhan Crypts. At least that's how Blizzard tried to code it. But if a paladin divine interventions the torch holder, the player holding the torch is counted as not holding one. That means you can res and grab a second torch on a different character and have 2 torches at the same time for the entire dungeon. I've also heard from the Paladin Discord that bopping Night Elves allows them to see the entire dungeon as well. Apparently Fetish Trinket works just like DI too, but when I tested Petri Flask it didn't end up working, so Blizzard is really likely patching all these items and spells very soon. So another PvE exploit a lot of the top players are doing right now, it's related to the Scourge invasion and the new Sanctified system. You know the drill, you kill mobs around the invasion area. When the crystal depletes, you sprint over to the cultists and spawn the Shadow of Doom to get 30 necrotic runes and your chance at a Prebis chest piece. The problem is getting the tag on the Shadow of Doom. It is far too easy to miss the tag and waste a ton of time. Since it's based on who talks to and pays the cultist engineer, the savvy players, they're using an interact with target hotkey combined with a targeting macro, and then they can spam that hotkey and instantly talk to the cultist. Then if you have the add-on Leatrix, you can automate the dialogue completely, and you're always guaranteed to get that Shadow of Doom tag. Smart players are also exploiting the Heart of Doom system too. If you have the Laid to Rest quest and you click the crystals after the invasion's over, you're gonna get a Heart of Doom, and that turns into the Lightsoak Chapel graveyard for Remnants of Valor to upgrade your Naxxramas buff item. One trick is to have several characters log out at a central location near all the invasion points, and that way you can get the quest done on 3, 4, 5 characters instead of just 1. We've also got to talk about exploiting the Valentine's event, because that's going to impact raid performance throughout the rest of Season of Discovery. The TLDR of the Valentine's event is that you buy and use cologne or perfume and love tokens too, and you go up to a guard with a heart above them, and then you give them one of your tokens. In return, you'll get a pledge box, and that sometimes contains valuable buff chocolates. The Valentine's chocolates you give you very good hit rating, spell damage, healing, and that gives you a significant rating advantage. To exploit the event, first, you don't want the chocolates to expire, and so to solve that, you just don't open the pledge boxes until you need them. Second, you want to be able to farm the boxes very efficiently. After all, you don't want to waste time running around for hours. The secret is to make level 1 characters, and you have a guildie making Orgrimmar portals over and over and over again. I recommend making 5 or 6 characters back to back. You port them to Org one by one. You log them out. You mail them all a few silver to buy the token items. You get your boxes, and you're set all the way through the rest of Season of Discovery. Also talking PvE with a little bit of leveling, don't forget that rune vendors. They sell every single rune now. And yes, it's gone under the radar, but you can combine runes to one-shot mobs, to solo dungeons, to pretty much break leveling in any way you can imagine. I plan to make a full leveling guide with the most broken combinations soon, so if you've got a favorite build, definitely let me know about it. We've also got to talk about PvP exploits, and this might be the golden age of PvP exploits. You see, Light Soap Chapel is absolutely swarming with Alliance and Horde players alike. In theory, the chapel guards are supposed to step in immediately if anybody goes on a PvP rampage, and they're supposed to kill the aggressor and immediately save the victim. Except if you spawn specific units, like a Vanquished Tentacle for example, the guards go crazy, they malfunction completely, and they actually start killing the victims more so than the aggressor. The more people the better, so the more summit items, the more things you can get out there, the more fun it's gonna be. My friends, this is peak Season of Discovery. I've also noticed some savvy players achieving the same effect by standing on top of the Heart of Doom quest giver. With the World Warper, which you can get from Pix and Booty Bay, and you can get a Firewater as well, Tarns become so large that they block the NPC completely. There have been quite a few complaints about this, especially on PvE servers like Wildgrowth. They really don't like that they keep getting flagged for PvP and they keep getting killed. If somebody ends up doing the same thing to you, by the way, just use a target command for the quest giver and interact with target, and that way you never get accidentally destroyed. So another huge PvP exploit a lot of people are taking advantage of, it's all about layers. Personally, I've noticed a huge amount of PvP the last few weeks, whether I'm being ganked in the Scourge invasion or being ganked on the way to Karazhan Crypts. Behind that PvP though is a dark secret, because many Alliance players are gravitating towards Alliance-only layers, and many Horde players, they're gravitating towards Horde-only layers. The secret is the Trace layer swapping weak aura. If you have an active guild, they're using this add-on. It is effortless to switch layers with this drop-down list in a matter of seconds. That means a future of a 100% Horde layers and 100% Alliance layers is unfortunately not very far off. I'm not a huge fan of that myself. I don't love the idea of there being no difference between the PvE and the PvP servers. If you disagree though and think these kind of add-ons should be allowed though, hit me in the comments. So what do you guys actually think about Phase 7 so far? Because even with as many exploits as there are right now, I would say overall the raid's been rolled out a lot better than previous phases, and I'm really enjoying Naxx a lot. Whether you're loving it, whether you're hating it, let me hear your thoughts in the comments. I'm gonna read everything I can. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure to like this video and subscribe, because you don't want to miss out on the ultimate Phase 7 DPS tier list, complete with updated tier sets and class changes. In the meantime, check out my huge Phase 7 gold making video so you can get rich really fast.